get one of these.
Whichever you prefer.
Charlie. Good. Now to make your team name
That's okay. We'll edit. Okay. We just need Reverend Chris.
Thank you.
Glad to see your vision finally come to fruition.
As soon as we get, oh, here's the artist, and just Reverend Chris, we'll be ready to start. I apologize for the sunshine. Tried.
Hey, Charlie. Very much. What's up, dude?
I'll do one for me too. I was hoping there wouldn't be.
All right, we do have a few chairs. Sylvia, have a chair or put it over in the shade. Yeah. And I know it's sunny. We promise to be brief. Reverend Chris. I saw her. Where is she?
Sabrina has a drone. Sabrina's here. Could be her.
Okay. Here we have Reverend Chris. So there's welcome to the really well deserved. Resulted in the renovation of our campus here at Goof. Curving, swooping wall, the wonderful patio, the enlarged fellowship hall. Charlie Smith came up with that inspiring. And while I know there were many, many people that contributed to that whole process and the project, I am absolutely sure that it was his design, originally sketched on a napkin, that made it a successful campaign. So it made the project. It made it possible for us to have a UU face to our building, and today is the culmination of that. It made it something we can be proud of, and I think that's important. Like I said, his original sketch on a napkin included the cutout here, the chalice in it. So we've been waiting all this time. We finally completed the sketch. And today we are finally here to do that. So thank you, Charlie, for making today possible. Now, Mary Margaret is going to tell you a little bit about the particular process and people involved in that.
Thanks, baby. I really wish that Betsy Dobbsbeck were here today because Betsy was the driving force that got this started when she did. It was late 2021 when, at the suggestion of Meredith Harper, she decided this should be part of our fundraising for the auction. And so she got Stephen Chapp involved, who was a friend and a fellow artist, because she knew that Stephen would know how to manage the project. And although in late 2022 with another auction coming up. This time, we decided to ask the endowment committee if they would get involved and give us a grant to match the contributions of the congregants. And fortunately, Frank Powell and all the members of the endowment committee agreed. And Scott Stellern, who was right here just a minute ago, probably left the sun up there. Scott was helpful in working with Stephen to determine the right material for the chalice sculpture. And endowment committee helped push us over the top. So we are very grateful to the endowment committee, to the board, Richard Nelson and last year's board, and Lynn Kusick and last year's program council, and especially to all the members for your generous contributions, because you all made this happen. And now Stephen's going to talk.
Thanks, Mary. It really wasn't able to do it, and it wasn't in their schedule to be able to come through with the project. So I'm real happy that John was willing and he was excited about it, and that was, I think, the selling point right there. He really wanted to do this, and I really thank him. I think if we can get John to talk a little bit about the process. I mean, I dropped in as often as I could to check on things and surprise him and say, what's happening here, and but I think he's a little bit more tuned with the process. I'm not a sculptor, I'm a printmaker, and working three-dimensional is in his wheelhouse. So I'm going to let John Albert, who is an employee, and I think you referred to yourself as a iron shop manager. Is that correct? At Heirloom Companies in Campobello, just off of Highway 11. I'm going to let John talk a little bit about the process and what is involved in the rendition of this final sculpture we have here. John?
Yay, Stephen!
Thank you, Stephen. I'm not a public speaker, but I'll do the best I can. I'm glad to have met Gabriel as well. We met on a mountain bike trail, and I told him what I did, and he told me what he did, and we became friends, and that's how I'm here to do this project. But anyway, it's stainless steel. We use that material for maintenance reasons. We don't have to do a lot of maintenance to it. These parts are flats are made out of 3/16 sheet stainless steel, and the rings are made of stainless steel tubing, which were once straight, obviously. So what we did is we took the initial sketch, and we scaled it into a computer-aided drafting program, which we used to cut the parts out of the flat steel and the sides. It's a plasma cutter, so it cuts precise parts. Then we just shaped it. We heated it up in the forge, and we would hammer it with the air hammer to get the texture. And then we heat treated it to get the dark patina, as well as some acids to get the dark patina, and then went back over and highlighted some of the ridges of the texture. And basically that's it. There's not a lot to it. It took a lot of time, obviously. I appreciate your patience with this project, but it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to make a sculpture for you guys, and I know it's going to be here for a long time, and that makes me feel great. So I'm glad you like it. Are you ready to go?
Yep.
You're the rest.
So, at the beginning of our services, what is the first thing we do with the chalice? We light it. I think we need to light this chalice. And I think, do we have a helper? Do we have a parent and a child who's going to help us light the chalice? Oh, I think Ella's going to help us. So, we have our candle here. Get ready, everybody. Woo! Yay! The chalice has been lit. And now some words of dedication. May the light of this chalice always remind us of the light that is in this community, the light that is in this world, and the light that shines in all our hearts. May it be the hearth of our spiritual home, the beacon that calls us forward, and the warmth of community and graciousness and love. May it reflect the light of children's eyes and of elders' wisdom. May it be a welcoming flame shining brightly for all the world to see. Now repeat after me. Chalice sculpture, we dedicate you in our hearts. Chalice sculpture, we dedicate you in our hearts.
I want to have Charlie just say a couple of words. My bad for not bringing him up here earlier.
That just let me sit longer, which I need to do these days. I must admit, for the last 2 years, I've done very little in getting this accomplished. The folks you see here are the ones that took an idea and turned it into stainless steel, a beautiful piece of artwork. You could say all I did was leave a hole in the wall. This, in a way, is a culmination of 30 years of work, not architectural work alone, but in work serving on Unitarian Universalist building committees. We have had probably half a dozen different committees over the years, all with one goal, and that's to get a building which is expressive of our congregation and not borrowed from someone else's. I think we're almost there.
Yes.
There are places that we need to work on, and I'll be glad to talk to you about that after at coffee hour. About the building itself, it's made of two simple shapes. A curve, which is a part of a circle, and an inclined plane. These are two-dimensional forms. There's nothing special about them, but when you put them together, they form a complex curve coming from the peak of the roof to right over my head. It's not something that you can actually draw because it's a continually changing curve. But when you intersect two-dimensional things, they come together in 3 dimensions in a very dynamic form. And that's the way I think of this congregation. We're many, many parts, maybe just pretty simple on our own, but when we get together, we're very dynamic. And I hope this building expresses that and you enjoy being in it. And it's been great for me. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Well, we have refreshments inside. There's some refreshing, cool beverage, as well as some things on the table right here. We're just going to take a couple of minutes.